You don't. I grew up there, so I'm kind of old, so I remember when it was a farming community when I was growing up. Now there's no farms left.
Right.
None of that's there.
Right.
Used to have pig farms, used to have a drive-in, used to have a lot of space when I was a kid, and there's none of that now. So
it's all populated.
It's all done. Yeah, it's all city now.
So what major city is that closest to?
Right next to Boston.
Right next to Boston.
It's right on the blue line, right there on the T.
Okay, fantastic. So born and raised, I assume.
Born in Boston, raised in Revere, and I didn't come down here until I was in my late 30s.
Oh, okay. All right. We're going to get to that in a moment. I want to apologize. It's possible that we had a little glitch with the sound at the very beginning there. So let me just remind everybody watching the Sober Life Podcast, your host, Scott Jones, and we've got Steve Matthews with us from Agape Treatment Center, and we're going to talk about them too. So you moved down here in your 30s. Was this seeking treatment? Is that what you came down here for?
No, I came. It was.
Didn't you know that's the only way you're supposed to come to Florida?
I was trying to change the geography. I was saying if I go there, everything will be better, and thank God, everything was worse. And I came here, and I was still me, and I think I lasted about 2 years.
Yes.
And then I came in a wreck, and I was with United Airlines. I was a shop steward with the union, and I was losing a job you can't lose. and I went to my boss and I said I have a problem, and he laughed, which to this day I don't hold against him because everybody knew I had a problem but me. And he said, okay, what do you want to do about it? And I told him I want to go and help. And that was my first and only detox. And I didn't go to treatment. I went right from detox into halfway.
Oh, okay. All right. And how did that work?
It's great because I have one white chip, and it's been 17 years. I was ready at that time.
And that just proves something, though, doesn't it? Everyone's path could be a little bit different. I mean, there is no one path that fits all.
No.
Nobody's figured out that from them. We know some great places out there.
Yeah. We
know some places that aren't so great too. But we know some really great treatment centers. But even they understand we're not there for everybody. We can't be. Nobody can, so your path was complete. Now me, back when I first got sober, they didn't even have detoxes. And they had drunk tanks that you went to, and they had psych wards. So I had to do it through 12-step groups and through other things like that. White knuckling and getting sick, going to the hospital, and getting better than getting out. But I totally get what you're coming from.
I was 40.
What were you doing before? Now, you were working in a union when you got out. Then you go and you get yourself all fixed, or at least on the path to recovery.
Right.
Did you go back to the old life? Did you go back to the old jobs and things like that?
I went back. I went back to United. I was in the union. I ended up becoming the committee chairman, which it's amazing when your head comes out of your butt how many things happens. I became the committee chairman. I went on these Las Vegas big conventions, and I started doing things. And then after a while, they watched me. The AAP committee came to me and asked me to come on that too. So all of these things happened within 2 years of getting sober.
Wow.
Which is insane, but they watched me. They didn't just, I saw them watch me in Reno. And my day is like, I call it Groundhog Day because every day is the same.
Yeah.
I get up, I pray, I make my bed, I have my coffee, blah, 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 blah. And it's always the same. And I like it like that. I would have called myself boring before, but I like boring.
It's funny because a lot of people are concerned about what am I going to do when I get sober. The thing is what can't you do? It's amazing. If you held a job while you were struggling with addiction, and then you get sober, I mean, you're going to excel because you were able to hold it while you were falling apart. Now you're all put together. You could excel. Like, look what happened with you.
I loaded the plane that went into the trade center out of Logan. 175. I was the runner, which is called, we take the bags to planes, and it was United Airlines. I was back in the day. And we were doing all that stuff, and I go far back where a lot of us were on the job, smoking, drinking, whatever. I mean, pilots back then were doing it. Everybody was doing it. And it's amazing that I could do the weights and measures of a plane, get everything right, put it in the thing, and probably not remember it.
Right. But you still found a way. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And although, I mean, I don't know that what you were doing was going to be harmful to somebody, but you certainly, you certainly could have harmed somebody doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. I think it really hit me bad when I came down here. I don't think I was at the point of that until I came down to Fort Lauderdale. I like to call it Fort Lickerdale. I got here and I moved into my apartment in Hollywood, and there was a drive-through liquor store down the street. I've never seen one of those before. And if they had them in Boston, there would be people all over the place in wreck cars, because I came in and they asked me if I wanted ice in a cup. Of course, I would love that. Do you have a straw? You know, and it's just so foreign to me that back then you could drink on the beach as long as you changed the container. The cops didn't care.
Right. As long as you weren't causing a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. And it promoted this whole atmosphere to. I thought I was in heaven for the first year, and then I met the girl who would say, "Hey, I'm this dealer of these wonderful substances. Would you like to go with me?" And I was like, "Oh, this sounds like a match in heaven." And crack brought me down to my knees, and I thank God for it every single time I think about it, because as an alcoholic, I probably could have strung it out for another 5 or 6 years, but with that added, boom, done.
Yeah. I got to ask you, why change though? What was it really that happened inside of you? I mean, the job was an issue.
Well, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Wait. That's an easy answer.
Oh, I know, but I'm going to go
What does that exactly mean?
I'm going to go deeper.
Okay. All right, good.
I was working overtime, making a lot of money, and had nothing. I was daydreaming on Tuesday about a cheeseburger, get paid on Thursday, never got the cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of stuff, and spiritually, I was just gone. Forget financially and mentally, spiritually, I was gone. And I had this depression, this onset depression when it was over. You know, the depression you have when you spent all your money, you can't drink anymore, you can't do it, you barely limping by, you're going to work, you're just hiding in your house, and you're waiting for the notice to come because you know they're going to kick you out soon. All of these things, and I'm still getting a shovel and trying to dig more to get lower. Yeah. And I finally lost that place, went to fabulous 441 in Hollywood, this hotel, this little Alibaba hotel. Couldn't tell you what the name of it was. And at about 3:00 in the morning, she was out running and gunning and doing her thing. And I was there all by myself. And I kneeled down and I said the one prayer that saved my life. I said, "God help me." That was it. And I meant it. And it came over me that I didn't have the obsession anymore. Physically, I did because I had to.
Yeah, you were ill. Yeah.
But mentally, I didn't have the obsession anymore. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to. And I made a decision in my life that I was going to go and ask for help from my boss. Because once you let it out of the bag, even if they all know, once you say it, it becomes real. So I went in there, and I didn't think there was some magical thing. I just wanted to be honest for once in my life, because I was so tired of the lies and the never-ending runaround. I just wanted off of the whole deal. And I said, I have a problem. He laughed. Like I said, I went into a detox. It wasn't a Betty Ford. It was functional and good for what I needed at the time. and they had great food. That's all I cared about at this point. And they fed you. I got breakfast double helping, then snack, lunch double helping, then snack. I love that. I was there about 5 days, maybe 6. I saw stuff come out of the walls in the beginning, but by the end, I was told, get to this halfway that the union had set me up with, which later I ran for almost a decade.
Right.
And go to a meeting right away. Get yourself involved. I was in the detox and I had never listened. I'd gone to meetings to like placate my mother, placate people.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll go to a meeting, and I never listened. I never heard anything.
Drink a cup of coffee, just kind of look around the room while people talk. Yeah.
The institutions committee came into that detox with a meeting, and they said every word that from the beginning readings to the end, the 9-step promises, I heard everything they said. I wanted what the guy had. I wanted it. I didn't even realize, I was so sick. I didn't realize I had a problem with alcohol. I thought I just had a problem. And I wanted the alcohol to stay as long as I could, take care of the problem. But then I figured out that alcohol was the problem. And in that meeting, I knew that alcohol was. And my sponsor made me read the doctor's opinion, and that clarified everything for me. And it's so simple. I mean, when you read that and you think, oh, I have an allergy. That's what it is. I'm allergic to this, and all my friends who are in music, all my friends are either dead or they're sober. It's funny. I don't have any more active friends that are out there.
Well, you're in your late 30s now, so I'm being nice.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, we just lost Tina Turner.
I know.
Somebody else died just the other day. I can't remember which was some musician.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's like we're losing them left and right. So you're finding this desire to change.
Mm-hmm.
You're connecting with people, saying, "I want what you have."
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing the messages are starting to make sense now. Oh, these promises that makes sense. I want that, and it's all good. So you're starting to open up, but there's always that you're opening yourselves up, but you've got to fill yourself with stuff. So what did you use? Certainly meetings and people and program, but what other kind of things can you tell people that personally you kind of put in your life to help you along the way?
Well,
with me, it was music and art.
My dad, God rest his soul, he told me you should do something nice for yourself once a week. You should buy yourself nothing big, just something small, but something you can look forward to as a
maybe finally get that cheeseburger
to yourself, a present to yourself.
Yeah.
And I took it to heart, and I can remember I went to CVS, which used to be on Andrews in Fort Lauderdale. Now it's on US 1. And that was there for years. And I went in there and I bought a boom box for $25. And now I don't know. It wasn't the money. It was that I bought it. I didn't steal it. It didn't fall off a truck. Usually my purchases are from the back of something.
Yeah.
And I went and I bought it and I took it home. I took it back to the halfway and I had it, and it was like this trophy. I put it on, and of course AM, FM, and a disc player. And I think I shined the damn thing for the first year, like it was because it was mine, and I cared about it. I never cared about anything in my life. I had to lose everything to respect anything, and to appreciate anything.
Yeah. And
I went from being this spoiled person who everything came so easy to appreciating every little thing. We went to the beach. Me and my friends went to the beach 3 times a week, because why would you live in Fort Lauderdale if you're not going to use the beach?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not Irish. I didn't burst into I'm Sicilian, and it's funny because I'm Sicilian in English, but the Sicilian took over. Some of my sisters have the white skin. I got this. And it's funny because the beach became a place. Service. My sponsor made me service. And when I never said I was bored in the beginning of this, because he would give me more.
I'm looking for, yes, absolutely. And that's important. But there's something that a lot of people that struggle forget. Have fun too.
Oh, definitely.
And so you're saying go to the beach with friends. You're
Yeah.
not just going and sitting by yourself
Oh,
on the
no.
beach under the boardwalk
No,
crying to yourself.
no.
You're out there with friends and you're laughing and
laughing and having a good time
How
without
important is that?
alcohol.
How
It's the
important is
most
that?
important. Having friends even that aren't in the program, people that are normies. I love to hang out with guys from work. They know my situation.
Yeah.
They know I can't. But from an early time, I was done. I had this thing where I knew that I didn't want it. And if I kept working on myself, if I kept doing, I could do whatever I want. Me and my cousin Glenn went down to Keys. I had 3 months and I mistakenly drank his rum and Coke because I was drinking Coke. And I didn't drink it. I got it in my mouth and I ran in the bathroom, spit it out, called my sponsor. Did I relapse? He goes, did you spit it out? I said, yeah. He said, no, you didn't relapse. And because
I can see the rationalization kick in most alcoholics' minds. Well, it's already in my mouth, so I might as well swallow.
No,
it's a good, but that's just a testament to your commitment. It's not just about I don't want to drink. It's about you have a commitment to living a different way, and that's important.
Yeah. Early on, I made a decision to I did this before I did the steps. I called my mother, and I had about 2-3 weeks because my mother. I don't know if anybody can understand this, but if you don't have an Italian mother or a Jewish mother, because they're basically the same.
Yeah.
They will guilt
One's
you
louder.
and guilt you and guilt you. One cooks better. And they will guilt you, and I knew that she would ride me. So I told her, I want you to ask me any question. I'm going to tell you the truth, no matter how devastating it is. I'm going to tell you the truth. But please, after this, let me do my thing. Do not guilt me. Because I knew that would affect me.
Gotcha.
I knew that would dig it. She's the only person, she put the button there from when I was a baby, and she would push it. And if she pushed it, I would spin. So I begged her. I said, ask me anything you want, and I promise I won't lie to you ever again. And I've kept it. But please do this for me. So she asked me 3 questions. After the 3rd question, she didn't want to hear anything more from me because she knows I told the truth. And to this day, she never brings it back. The back old me, she doesn't bring it up.
It's almost like a precursor to the 9th step. Because making amends is more about the honesty of owning your actions than it is about paying things back. It's about owning it, and then you will pay it back. But so that was cool. That must have been an interesting moment for you to be that honest. How did it feel?
It was paralyzing, and it was wonderful all at the same time. Right. Because I don't like confrontation, especially with my mother. But I needed her to be in on it. I needed her to be in on it, my recovery. I needed her to be totally in on it and know that she could derail me if she wanted to. She's probably the only person that could have done it.
For you to put it out there like that, that's brilliant. I think we see, that was 17 years ago. Things are a little different now. It's a little almost too easy sometimes. I wouldn't carry cell phones 17 years ago, and we had to make efforts to do things. It's a little easier now, and sometimes I think it's like the things that I did when I first got sober. They're not doing those things anymore. They're not getting up and having to do certain things. Are we losing something here because of technology and because it was a little bit easier, and maybe because there are so many rehabs and people are just bouncing from place to place and thinking like, oh, I can still go back to detox anytime. We didn't think that way back then.
The biggest, the funniest thing that, and you mentioned this, is that now that back then we didn't have this insurance forever. This 26-year-old, this is now the new landmark.
Yeah.
When they turn 26, all of a sudden my life's over. I can't do this go here, go there, go anywhere I want because I'm off my parents' insurance now.
Right.
And it becomes the time where you either put up or shut up. And a lot of them can't cope with this. They've been bouncing in and out because they think that it's the hotel. They have this great insurance and they wave it around like it's a credit card.
Yep. Yeah, we talk about that a lot. That's what they're doing, and it's like I'm just going from one place to the next. And guess what? If I don't like it here, I'll walk out the door, and
Someone
I'll
else
go
will
use
pick
it. And the
me
next
up.
day, I'll go
Yep.
somewhere else.
Yep. Someone else will pick me up, and and they'll wine and dine me and make me and get me horseback riding and stuff like that. It's
And we know that there's people out there that are taking advantage of this,
mhm.
and have marketed people off the streets or out of rehab into another rehab, and has been brokering clients. They've cracked down on it. I still see it, not as much as I did 10 years ago or 12 years ago.
No, but
But there's people that took advantage of that too. So it's really kind of like, it's hard. You work in treatment now.
I love the place I work at because we do more referrals to other places than we take. We're here to help anybody and everybody. So when I get a call from someone and it's not the insurance that I take, I instantly think, who can I send this person to?
Right.
If I know who to send the person to, if I know the best fit for them, I'll do it. If I don't, I'll call and we'll have we'll think about it. We'll go over it and then we'll do it. But
Right.
I love where I work because I'm not told that I have to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not told that I have to only push this. I was told help people. Help people. Just help people. And it will come back to us. We'll get from it because that's how it is.
Yeah.
If you do the right thing always happens.
And it seems like a simple concept. If I bring somebody in who's not appropriate for my center, it's going to hurt me in the long run. It's going to hurt them for sure. And it's going to hurt my reputation because now I got somebody I really can't help. So doesn't it make more sense to put them places where they belong? Right?
Right.
Business wise.
Right.
Yeah, you took one client and the other three you gave to somebody else. But it's much, much better than having somebody come in and fail because they're not the right fit for your kind of treatment.
You get it. A man or woman doesn't matter. You get somebody in and you know that they're not going, that they'll thrive someplace else or their insurance. And this is the best option for them.
Yeah.
And then in a few years, you meet them wherever and they are a totally different person. You don't even recognize them. And it's the biggest high you can get is knowing that you actually changed somebody for the good and did something for them. And I sleep like a baby because I don't do things that are unethical or I don't like that because I made a choice a long time ago, not just the third step, but I made a choice that I wasn't going to do that. I was going to live rightly and I was going to go exactly by the way that I'm supposed to, that my sponsor, my grand sponsor, and I don't just think it, I do it. And lying to me is as foreign today as something I would never do. So I don't know.
You seem like a guy who probably didn't like taking a lot of shit from people and certainly didn't like being lied to or conned. You didn't want to be conned or scammed, right?
No.
And you're not a guy. So, and there's a lot of people out there that then they'll turn around and do it to somebody else. If you don't like it, don't do it. I
was a con artist. I was a con artist. I was a scam artist. I lied. I did a lot of that. And then what happened was when I changed, I wouldn't accept that from anyone or myself.
That's right.
And I would say to people, this is how it is. Actually telling the truth is freeing because once you start doing it, bad habits start off painfully, pleasurably, and then painfully. And good habits start off painfully and then pleasurably.
Yeah.
So when you start telling the truth, it sucks because I'm a people pleaser and I want you to like me. And if I tell you that your idea sucks and it's not going to go anywhere, you're not going to like me. Mm-hmm. You're going to go, well, that was rude. But if I lie to you and tell you what you want to hear, I'm just helping you down the road to failure. So I have this freeing thing where I tell you the truth and tough. It's the truth. Nothing can happen.
And it does, just because it's the truth doesn't mean it has to be brutal.
Oh, no, I don't have to be brutally honest.
You can do the truth kindly.
Of course.
There is no such thing as brutal honesty. There's brutality and honesty. If you're being honest with somebody, it's got nothing to do with brutality. If you throw the brutality in, it's because you want to hurt.
Yeah, it's a sarcastic whack.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. there's so many great things, and I want to talk about where you ended up now, because you come out, you're being successful at your job and everything. At what point did you transition over and say, I need to help people professionally as well?
I was working at the hotel. I was valet. I was supervising valets at big hotels in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And the owner of the halfway house called me, and she asked me if I would take the job over, because I knew it. I had done an assistant manager there for a little while, as a, to give back and to do a little extra work and to meet guys and do that kind of stuff. And she offered it to me, and I said, I can't tell you yet. I'm going to have to pray on it. And I called my dad, and we talked about it. And it was going to be I was going to take a pay cut if I did it. And I prayed on it, and I took it, and I did it. And I did it for 9 years.
Wow.
And I loved every minute of it. And only at the end, and it wasn't because I didn't still love it. It was just because it was it was too much. And I'm at an age now, I'm thinking about retirement. I needed to do a little bit more money wise, and I needed to do a little bit more, I wanted to help in a different way, because that never ends. That is a never ending cycle. It's very rewarding, but at the same token, I can tell you how much mail I get for deceased people at the halfway. So it's also not as, and I didn't burn out. I just wanted to change. And I think 9 years is a long time, especially in that field.
Yeah.
But I loved helping people, and I love connecting with people, and I love doing these things. And when I went to Agape and I talked to them, I had a vision of what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And George, the owner, he was like, I want you to do this for me. And he's one of those guys that you genuinely, I really like. I remember his partner, Joe Zapoli, who was right with him at the beginning of Agape. And Joe was a great friend of mine. He helped me with it. All of these people would help you no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether you work for them, you don't work for them, you call them and ask them for help, they'll help you. And that's how I am. If someone calls me, I'm helping them. Because God, it was so freely given to me. And I know that sounds like a slogan from AA, but it's so true, because my life changed. I got a life. I never looked in the mirror because I hated who I saw. And you come into this life, it's all changed. I had one way to cope with everything: drink, drug. Drink, drug. I don't like you, drink. I love you, drink. Happy, drink. Sad, drink. So I played guitar and sang, and that was the only medium other than drink that I had. And that was done drinking.
Yes. That brings up a good point. I wanted to get to that before we lost time. Does music play a big role in your recovery now? Because I know music played a big role in my using and in my drinking. And then it was like there was a little bit of a quiet time during my transition into recovery. But then music became very important in my recovery now, too. It was almost more important than it ever was before in my life.
Music
Have you had that thing happen?
Yes. Music took me in the beginning to the place they don't like.
Right.
And then later, and the only reason why I don't play out anymore, I do some stuff, but I don't really go to, because I don't want to be in bars. I don't like to smoke.
Yeah.
I quit smoking 15 years ago. I have another octave now. I never get sick. But I love writing. And right now, me and my girlfriend are doing, we're harmonizing, and she's really good at it. And and I'd like to do something like, we go to Lanyap, we go to all these other places for live music. We love going out, and I love being able to sit in on and just do it because I can. And I've been with a lot of people. All the people that I know who are still in music are clean and sober, or they're dead. And I'm 57 years old, and I can tell you that I don't feel it, but most of the guys that I was my first band, they're all dead. Except for one of my bass player who lives in Seattle. He's electrical engineer, and he was always just a pothead. So he never really got into any of the real stuff.
We're talking about a bass player here.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
I know.
What do you call a bass player whose girlfriend leaves him? Homeless.
It's love.
Picking on bass players. I love you guys. John Angelo, my friend, I'm not picking on you. All right. Yeah, I just I find it amazing how music can kind of come around and change its meaning for you. And again, it's something that lights up your brain, brings joy to your heart, and all of that too.
And I'm learning new instruments. I'm learning new stuff on guitar. I was so one-dimensional, and now I'm doing all kinds of different things. And it's all for me. It's all for me. It's not for everybody else. And I can still sing Zeppelin. I can still sing. I can still sing all that stuff. We were talking earlier. Freddie was my favorite. I can't do all of Freddie, but I can do a lot of Freddie.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's a few pieces Freddie does
that no one can.
No one should ever even try.
No. And he's amazing. He's my favorite. And you know, music has a big part in, and it also helps me connect with. There's a lot of us are musicians. And it helps me connect with musicians because when I sit down on their bed and I pick up their guitar and I start playing, now I have an instant respect, even though we're both going to talk the same language. Now, all of a sudden they know. And then if I sing a little bit, then and it's really a way to connect with people of your own kind. Cause us musicians stick together. And when I have some friends that I'm not going to name, but they're pretty famous, but when I'm in a room with them, they're not famous. They're just a guy and I'm a guy, and we hang out and we laugh and we talk about the old days. And it's kind of funny because, you know, I was that kid when I was younger that was idolizing these people. And now I'm the guy who I know he's just another guy, and we're going to have fun and we're going to go do something.
You know, when in my old days of TV and radio in Philly, I spent a lot of time, and I had like Danny New Jr. to come in and do the morning show with me. And I met a lot of the oldies. I met the great oldies and stuff like that. But what I love how music it kind of unifies people. And it's like, even if, you know, if you could love country, I love rock and roll, not to get into the Donnie and Marie thing there, but there's still a commonality there. There's still something, a communication, a language there. So let's get back because we are going to be out of time. You're at Agape. You're helping them out. And as I mentioned, I think one of the components that's really missing from people is they get sober and they focus on the loss of their best friend, the loss of the heroin, the loss of the alcohol, instead of thinking about how many things they can actually have now. You know, it's like, I lost this little piece, but I got the whole world in exchange. How come we're not looking at that whole world? Why are we still so focused on that little piece?
They have to mourn it like a death. They have to mourn it. They have to be okay with it. I'm a pickle. I'm never going to be a cucumber again. It's never going to happen. I had to mourn alcohol. It was a girlfriend. It was a best friend. It was a lot of things. And I had to mourn it. And I had to say, I can never do that successfully again. I can't touch it because it leads me down the path to other things. So I had to that's the hardest thing. And I think you're right. That's the hardest one. I think a lot of people have reservations, and they hold those reservations. And instead of being okay with, okay, I can't drink anymore, they'd say, I can't drink now. And they have this idea that in a few years when they're good, you can't. And that's what I had to do. I had to mourn it. I had to understand that it was dead for me, because to drink is to die for me. And I also have to understand that having fun and living life every day in recovery is better than it ever was. I never would have said that in the beginning. Totally. There's not even a doubt in my mind. I wish I could have got it earlier.
But you were saying right in the first 3 months, you were doing some traveling. First 3 weeks, you were talking to your mom. Was it the people around you that influenced you taking the high road, or did that come from you?
Both.
Excellent.
Both.
Okay.
Both. It was me being too afraid to slip back into where I was.
All right.
And the people around me back then, I had to call my sponsor every day. There was a payphone at the 12-step house. I mean, and
phones, for those of you out there who've never seen one, it's a phone on the wall. You put money in it, you make a phone call.
And there was no Facebook back then.
That's right.
There was no. So, I mean, there might have been, but it was so infantile that you didn't get. I would have been a star probably.
I don't even think MySpace was ready yet back then.
No.
I don't even think so.
No. So and there were no smartphones. So, and nobody was taking videos and pictures of everybody. It was still flip phone time.
Yeah. Yeah. And texting, I think, was just starting.
Yeah, just starting. So, wow. I had there's a lot of, and I'm a guy, and I know it's not sexist to say this, but I have a lot of friends that are women that have a harder time than I did because there were a lot of different issues with children, with being abused, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I abused me.
And the stigma for women is
right.
higher than men.
Right.
Men, you can crawl out of a gutter and clean yourself up. Women crawl out of a gutter. People tend to remember that longer, and they put more of a stigma on that.
Yeah.
So that they don't speak up. Of course not.
Right. And it's wrong because I don't judge anyone. That's the biggest deal in the world for me, is I never judge anyone because who am I to judge anyone?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just right there. And it doesn't matter how many years ago, I was there. And I don't judge anyone because if I do, no one's going to come to me. If I judge you, you're not going to come and say, I need help. You're going to go, screw that guy. I'm going to go to someone else because I want to help. I don't want to judge because judgment, I'm not God.
It doesn't serve anybody anyway.
It doesn't.
How does it serve you? It separates you from the person you're trying to help, and it separates the person who needs help from the rest of the world. Judgment serves nobody.
It's truth, honesty, and just staying in the moment.
Yes.
Staying in the moment is amazing, and loving every day and living every moment. I've had the first healthy relationship of my life with my girlfriend, soon to be my wife. My first healthy relationship where I can actually do anything I want to do and not feel like I'm doing something wrong. She can do anything she wants to do and not feel like she's doing something wrong. And we come together and we're fine. And it's amazing.
It's because you got two complete people. Not a half a person trying to find the other half.
Right.
It's a full person looking for another full person to share with.
And the only thing I want to do is lift her up.
Yeah.
I don't want to put her down. I want to lift her up. And if I can't help her, I shut my mouth.
You say things like lift her up. That's a recovery concept. We lift each other up. We help each other. You got to be a complete person. That's a recovery. So without recovery, where would you be now?
Oh,
I mean, dead's the easy answer.
No.
Let's go
hopefully dead, but I would say miserable beyond belief and probably in an institution. Probably sitting in a chair my mother's paying for because I'm wet-brained.
Yeah.
Because I probably wouldn't have stopped drinking. Most of my friends at home are dead from cirrhosis, and they were dead 10 years ago in their late 40s. The way we drank was like it was oxygen, and we needed it to breathe. Yeah. And I can't even understand, and I say this all the time. I can't, if the old me walked into a room right now and I was here, I wouldn't recognize him. I wouldn't recognize the guy. I'd help him, but I wouldn't recognize him because it's not me anymore.
Right. That's, you said something before, you were afraid of going back. And that was part of what motivated you. Plus good people saying, hey, I know you're afraid, but there's sunshine out here. Come on to the beach,
Right.
So you got a lot of good help. Does fear still motivate you? Or are you looking forward and just not even worrying about looking back?
I don't look back, and fear is not a motivator anymore.
Excellent.
My motivation is the next day, is today. It's what's going to happen after this. I'm going to see her tonight, but I tend to stay right in the now.
Yeah.
And fear was a motivator in the beginning, and fear and pain are good motivators. But when you're happy, I drank to be happy because I hated myself.
Yeah.
When you love yourself and you're happy, why would you screw that up?
That's right.
Why would you even go there?
I know there's some people that still believe in the fear. It's like, I might drink tomorrow, and they create this cloud of fear. It's like, but you know what? After my time in recovery, I don't think about that, because here's the thing: fear. I will conquer fear sooner or later. So that can't be my only motivation.
Mm-hmm.
My motivation is, I had a great day today. I want to have a great day tomorrow. If I do what I do today, I won't drink tomorrow. I know that.
Right.
You know, if I abandon my recovery, the drink will follow. But if I'm living in my recovery, I don't have to live in fear of anything. Because everything that I've gone through since I've been in recovery, I've had people that have my back.
There's always been an answer.
Exactly.
There's always been an answer, and there's always been a reason, and there's always been a way. And as long as I stay out of my own way and I live today, no matter what happens, there's always been an answer. Always. And it's never stopped. And I just trust in God, and I live my life, and it always works. And it's the amazing thing. I haven't been arrested once since I've been in. I have not bounced a check since I've been in. I have not lost my car since, and I have a car, and it's actually legal with my plate and my insurance that I never used to have. No, it's never ending. And when they say beyond your wildest dreams, and we all heard that, and I thought it was bullshit.
Yeah.
But beyond your wildest dreams, they didn't even tell you the truth, because it's better than that. Better than that, because every day it gets better than that. And we're the luckiest people on earth. We're the luckiest people on earth. And that's how I live my life. And I thank God every morning, and I thank him every night when I go to bed, because I'm one of the lucky people who is free and can do whatever I want. And fear doesn't play a part in my life.
That is fantastic. And, you know, I want everybody to see this and see how, you know, that transition happens. That, you know, maybe today you're afraid of what you've done to yourself, or what you've done in your past, or you're afraid of returning to it. But it's up to you to start replacing that fear with action, with what you do today, how you spend your time. If you're going to spend your time sitting in the apartment staring at the walls, thinking about how much you're missing out on in your life, you're not going to get very far.
No.
Get up and take some action. Go take a walk on the beach. Get a cup of coffee. Go to a meeting. Talk to people. Go bowling, for crying out loud. At the beginning, I went bowling with people, and I don't bowl. In fact, none of them did. We all sucked, but it was the greatest fun I had.
Because you're together.
We're together. We're laughing. We're just like, yeah.
You're doing it with someone else. You know, when you isolate, that whole depression comes back. When you isolate, depression takes over. It's debilitating. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to talk to anybody. You want to sleep. You want to blah, blah, blah. But if you get out there and you just do life, and you just start walking around looking at the small things, that's why it's don't miss the little things, because the little things are so important. And you know, now I love to sit in a park and just sit there. And before I couldn't, because the committee would be gone. And I'd have to be entertained. Someone entertain me. Now I can sit there and I can just be happy in the moment. I'll watch all the little things going around me. And it's amazing when you're at peace with yourself, how much your life is just complete. And that only happened because of the things I started in the beginning with that group of friends, with that nucleus of people, being with the winners, doing the service, and doing what I had to do. And yes, a little robotic at the beginning, but at the end, all these years later, and I'm still the happiest guy. I go to 5 meetings a week. I'm the happiest guy in the world. I love life.
And you know, everything's got lessons. Everything is designed purposefully, you know. Even things like service. Go make the coffee and do this. Used to be empty the ashtrays. Yeah. Remember those days, empty the ashtrays?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
No.
But you know, make the coffee and stuff. And everybody's like, well, why am I being punished? It's like, it's not a punishment. It's about having responsibility. But more importantly, you need to know that you could commit and follow through. That's a part of your growth. It's not about you serving us coffee. It's about you, when the night's over, saying, I said I was going to do it, and I did it.
And serving the coffee, you get to meet every single person in there.
That's right. It's a commitment, and it changes you. It changes you when you find yourself following through. When people first get sober, I'm not going to talk for everybody because everybody's different, but I'd say a majority of us had no belief in ourselves to follow through on anything other than making the next drug deal. We had no. So those little things, they sound stupid,
They're
meeting
not.
people at the door when they
Yeah.
come in, doing things like that. Getting a sponsor or whatever it might be. Those are all designed to start to put us back into the frame of there's so much more out there, and I can do it. I can participate. I can be that person.
Right. I was afraid to go in to the meeting in the beginning. I was petrified. I've been to the worst bars in the world. I've been all over the world. And I had no problem walking into the worst bars in the world with eyeballs and blood and whatever. Didn't care. The 12-step pulse petrified me. And I walked in there, and a guy grabbed me by the arm and made me feel welcome and gave me a cup of coffee and sat me down.
That's right.
And I felt welcomed. And that's why greeters to me are a wonderful, wonderful. It's amazing because when you come in and you're afraid and they make you feel welcomed and they sit you down, and now you can start off with a little bit. And there was like 6 or 7 guys in the room when I went, but they all gave me their time.
My first meeting was about 40 years ago. I stayed sober for 12, then I relapsed for 10, and now I'm back for 19, going on 19. And but I remember going in there and that terrified. I was a punk kid.
Mm-hmm.
That very first time. I was a punk kid. I was, I had my motorcycle, and I did what I wanted to do and everything else. And I walked in there, and these people, the old men with old man's shoes, were scaring the hell out of me. They scared the hell out of me. And I go over and I'm getting coffee. I'm putting 17 sugars in there, shaking it, and just and then within a very short period of time, coming to, I can't wait to see the old guys with the old shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. It's amazing. Let's talk quickly about Agape, because you have committed yourself to that. Now, you would not work somewhere that you didn't believe in their ideals.
No,
right?
I wouldn't. And I sat in for the first week. I sat in on groups, and I was amazed that everybody in there is happy. I've never. I mean, it's almost
goes to the point of what we started
Exactly.
talking about at the beginning, right?
Everybody that works there, everybody that's there is happy. I mean, you got a few of the clients that that just goes part. That's part of the course, but everybody is happy, and they're all happy to be there. They're all happy to do their job. They're all happy. And I got a really, it's an open door policy where a lot of the kids would, I don't want to call them kids, but the clients would go in to see it there. And it's not like, oh, the clinician is not in right now. No, they're always there. And they just walk in and they say hi and they say a few things, and it might turn into a thing and it might not, but they're there. It's an open, and they're always walking around. It's small enough that it's very personable. And I love
there's places out there that are like, listen, you don't get to see your therapist until next Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's like, am I supposed to plan my breakdowns? Am I supposed to plan that when I come into recovery?
Oh, I won't feel bad until then.
Yeah. You can't predict that shit. It just happens. And the happiness that you talk about, I know, because I've worked places and seen places where people aren't happy. And that transfers directly to the client care. Clients will absorb that. They feel the energy.
Definitely.
If it's bad energy, they feel it. If it's good energy, they feel that too.
Yeah.
So did you see the clients reacting well to it?
They react well to it. And even if they're in a bad mood, they know everybody's trying to help them. And the bad mood is for them. It's them. And I tell everybody, I never say to somebody, oh, we're going to fix. Nah. You will get all the tools. We will give them to you. It's up to you to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? If you give me a full set of tools for this job and I do the job gets done.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't do the job doesn't get done. It's up to me. No one can give you recovery. You have to work on it. It's an action. I had to work to get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I have to work to get, sober and recovered. And this is the best part about it, is that we give you the tools. We help you. We nurture you. We care about you. We make sure that you go to the right halfway house. Nobody goes to one that hasn't been checked out.
Right.
And you're not going to just get thrown, oh, well, go there. No. And then once you're there, we're still going to keep in touch with you. How's everything going? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Want to know. It's an alumni thing.
It's like Snap-on. Snap-on will sell tools, but they'll keep checking in because if one of those tools breaks, we got another one for you. Come on in and get it.
Exactly. And that's the whole deal is
Yeah.
we want you to succeed where,
Of course.
because not only is that why we're in the business. I mean, I know that's a business. Let's get over that. But the thing is, if you can do something and you can do it rightly and you can make it work and you don't have any kind of conscience play at all because you're doing the right thing, who's better than you? What's a better job than that? You do the right thing and you make a good living at it and no one's Rockefeller, but you do the right thing and you keep the clients, you keep it to a way that that's going to be successful for them. You give them a happy place, a clean place. It's a wonderful thing, and I wouldn't have worked. It's probably, for me, I think it's one of the best out there in South Florida. And I'm not just saying that because I work there, because I've been in this business for a long time. And they've always been above and beyond. And there were a few that I wouldn't even have talk to, and I never say anything. That's not my business. But
yeah. I mean, I'm the same way. I mentioned it before. We know that there's still some players out there that aren't doing things the right way, or and there's some out there that are doing a good job, but it's just not my style. It's not my cup of tea. But not everything's ever going to be my cup of tea. I just have to go with my people. But I know we got good people at Agape, and George and you and Mike and the guys over there. Terrific. And some of the people that have been through there, I know some of them, and they've always had good experiences. I just want to tell people, if you're looking for someplace, and usually people aren't out shopping for their own, it's a parent or a loved one or something. Do your due diligence. Call and talk to somebody.
Yes.
If you're available to walk through the place, do that. If you're not available to do that, you know what? We got these smartphones now.
Yep.
You can always say, hey, take me on a video tour, walk around.
Right.
Places that will not let you talk to them or will not show you around, then you got to wonder.
Ask the questions. Ask the hard
please.
Questions. Can I talk to my kid? Can I talk to my friend? Can I talk to my wife? When can I? How's it going to be? What are they going to do? Ask all the questions you want. Make a list before you call. Ask all the questions. And make sure that you're doing the right thing. It's right for them, and they have to be involved in it. You can do all this due diligence, and then they don't want to go. So
the funny thing is, Steve, is that people will spend more time researching the next car they're going to buy than they will researching the place that might save their son or daughter's life.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you got to spend months researching, but really pay attention. Talk to people. Don't just call. And listen, if you don't just go online and look for the prettiest ads online, because there's a constant competition.
Yeah.
I make the joke about the place people send their kids to this one place, and it's one of the bigger places. I don't bring up their name, but their advertisements had people deep sea fishing and surfing and doing all this stuff, and people were sending their kids there because of all this imagery online. Mm-hmm. It's in Arizona.
Mm-hmm. How's the surfing
in Arizona? I was just going to say, there's no oceans in Arizona. It was just they found pretty pictures. They put them on there, and people were sending people there, and they were going to go in there like, "Where's the beach?" I'm sorry, we're in the desert. So don't believe all that stuff. Talk to somebody. It's been. Are you? What job do you have there? What do you do?
I'm business development.
Okay. Do people call and talk to you about coming in, or are you willing to talk to people if they want to reach out? Because they see this and they're like, I like that guy, trust him, I want to talk to him.
Yeah.
Do you want people to give you a shot?
Yeah, they can call me. We have a call center, but if they want to call me, can I give my number?
Go for it.
954-446-5479, and that's my cell. And any problem, don't call me at 3 a.m. unless it's something serious. But I'm saying any problem in this, if you want to ask me a question, please do. And if you just need, if you're down here and you want to go to a meeting, I'm always going, and I'll try to make it happen. And that's
excellent. And if you want to check out Agape, their website, do you know what it is?
I know it's a guy. you put me on the spot.
I know, and I was supposed to write it down before the show, but we had a little glitch. And again, if you caught the beginning of the show, I apologize. I will fix that as we do the replay. But
let me get it for you.
We got, but it's Agape Treatment Center. It's in Fort Lauderdale. It's AGAPE Treatment Center.
Yep,
it's a great place.
It's excellent.
It's a great place. Check it out. If it's not your cup of tea, that's okay too. But no matter what you do, make sure you're not just blindly going into something.
We
make
also
sure you know
have,
what's going on.
We also have detox, and we also have mental health. So it's not just for drug and alcohol; it's also for mental health. So
excellent.
And we do it all. And if we can't help you, we'll make sure you get helped. So no matter what, we want you to get help.
There we go.
That's it.
Well, not much else to say. I'd love to, Stevie. You'll come back sometime because we could probably tell stories all day.
Yeah.
About maybe just do a whole show on the joy of recovery.
Yeah.
And because I know we could fill hours with that. So we'll have Steve Matthews back again. We appreciate your time and we certainly applaud your efforts of your recovery and all the things you're doing now. And we want you to check out their friends over at Agape Treatment Center. And for now, I am Scott Jones, your host. This has been Sober Life Podcast. Please don't forget to like us and share this with your friends. In the meantime, remember, every day, do 2 things nice for yourself, 1 thing nice for someone else. You'll always have a good day. Thanks for joining us. We will catch you next time right here.